Welcome back to Still Processing here on Substack and Spotify and Unhinged Healing over on YouTube. Wherever it is you're watching or listening, hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm reading my book, 23 Ways to Leave. Today I'm reading chapter 6, and I'm so grateful that you're here. We're going to get started. Chapter 6, Leaving the False Hope. Why Love Alone is Not Enough. There was a time when I convinced myself that love was enough to make things work. If we could just love each other, the arguments piling up didn't matter as much. I would spend hours contemplating what went wrong after we had fought, how I could do it differently next time, what I could say, how I could keep from making him mad or pissing him off. I felt unseen and unheard, as if my words were landing on deaf ears. Trust was non existent, and even though it was killing me inside, I told myself, but I love him. I truly believed that love could heal it all. Our love was special, not like the rest. It had the power to make things better. Every wound, every conflict, it could heal it and make everything okay. I wanted to believe that our love was the thing that would save us. And I stayed, believing that my love was the answer. If I could just love him the right way and prove it to him enough, then it would all work out. I would be the one who loved him through it all. I wouldn't leave him like everyone else has. We've all heard the phrase, love conquers all. Books and movies have forever sold the idea that if you just love hard enough, everything else will fall into place. The belief that if you care deeply enough for someone, all their flaws and missteps will fade away. We confuse attachment with true connection and somehow convince ourselves that love alone can withstand anything. But as beautiful and powerful as love is, it isn't always enough. Love can be real, but real love doesn't require you to endure pain, betrayal, or disrespect. It doesn't mean sacrificing your dignity or your happiness to prove you're worthy of affection. Loving someone doesn't mean you have to stay in a situation where trust and effort are missing. But when the love is still there, it becomes incredibly difficult to walk away. Sorting out the feelings of love that you've had for years and trying to figure out how you take that love for the person with you while you leave them to save yourself is an insurmountable task. The thought of leaving can feel like you're letting go of something precious, as if leaving means the love wasn't real. When I told my husband I wanted a divorce, I told him that it wasn't because I didn't love him anymore. I did still have love for him. He wanted me so badly to tell him that I didn't love him anymore. Maybe it would make it easier, thinking that the love was gone, but I couldn't because the love is real. It was still there after all those years of being together, all those years of hoping for that future with each other. It just was not enough to overcome the lack of respect, trust, or effort that I needed to feel safe and whole. It was time that I took that love and gave it back to myself for once. How to love them and still walk away. We cling to the hope that love is enough because the world has told us it should be. We grew up watching romantic comedies where grand gestures solved everything, where the person who hurt you just needed more love, more patience, more of you, and then everything would magically work out. They would follow you to the airport in some big romantic gesture, and everything would be perfect again. We internalize this push-pull dynamic as passion. Chasing after us brings us this idea that the chaos is somehow proof that they care, proof that the connection is deep, proof that the love is real. But the truth is that constant back and forth, push pull magnetism is not love. It's dysregulation and it's dangerous. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence at the time of this writing, nearly 1 in 3 women have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner, and more than 4 women a day are murdered by one. Let that sink in. The fairy tale of holding on because you love them can, in the real world, become a horror story. Love should feel like shelter. It should be safe. It shouldn't be about survival. In the 2 months that I've been writing this book, I've seen at least a dozen stories on the news. Relationships that could have ended in divorce or breakup and heartbreak, instead ending in tragedy and horrific violence, spouses taking the lives of people they once swore to love and protect. That doesn't mean every hard relationship becomes abusive or dangerous, but we should not ignore this. It does mean that when we mistake intensity for intimacy and we build that up in our minds that this passion is purposeful and powerful and it means our love is special, we're often sacrificing our safety, sanity, and sense of self just to keep that fiery hot connection alive. And for what? To say that we stayed? To not be a quitter? To prove that our love was stronger than their harm? To be the ones who didn't get divorced? If you have to sacrifice yourself to keep them, that is not love. It's self-abandonment. True love, the kind that lasts and grows and heals, requires truth. It requires you to be you, fully and wholly. And the people who love you truly want that from you as well. If you have to shrink, twist, censor, or abandon yourself to be loved by them, then they don't truly love you. They love the version of you that you're becoming to make them feel better. They love the version that's disappearing. You can love someone and still walk away. You can have real memories, deep emotions, shared history, and these hopes for the future, and still know deep down that staying is killing you. It's either killing something inside or it has the potential to kill you in the future. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else but you. No one else has lived the quiet, aching moments you've endured, those silent tears that stream down your cheek. Only you know the full truth of what you've carried. And now it's time to start honoring that truth. Introducing Byron Katie's 4 questions. Dismantle the thoughts that keep holding you back. This is another one of my favorite tools. So, how do you start to accept that loving someone doesn't mean you have to stay? You begin by telling the truth, and that's what we've been working on in this book. Love is only one part of a healthy relationship. It's not the whole thing. It needs to be accompanied by respect, consistency, honesty, shared values, rupture after repair, and the mutual willingness to grow. Without those things, love becomes something that hurts more than it heals. If you have to trade your self-worth to have a seat at the table, to be listened to be cared for, that's not a relationship. It's a love bombing sacrifice that you'll never get out of. And you, my love, are not meant to be some kind of offering. One of the tools that helped me to begin unraveling the lie that love alone was enough is Byron Katie's 4 questions. It's a simple practice you can learn. You can take it with you, but it can shift everything when your mind is stuck in the loop of, but I love them. Ask yourself, is it true? Is it true that staying just because you love them is the right thing? Can you absolutely know that it's true? Think about this deeply. Are you sure this belief is serving you? Is it a yes or a no? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? Who are you showing up as? Notice the pain that comes with holding on when you are in this space acting as that person. And lastly, who would you be without that thought? If you didn't believe staying because you love them is the right thing, what potential opens up for you? How does your life change? Imagine the freedom if you could love them and still choose yourself. Let your mind and heart wrestle with those questions. Let the truth rise up in you, even if it's uncomfortable, even if the answers are not what you would have expected. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for both of you is to let go. Accepting the truth that love is beautiful, but so is freedom. Love is not meant to be control and coercion. It's meant to be breathing without fear, sleeping through the night without crying into your pillow. You deserve a love that doesn't ask you to prove your worth. You deserve a love that shows up every day with respect, with effort, with care. You deserve a love that demands you be the truest, fullest version of yourself, no matter what. And if that love is not being returned to you, then the most courageous and loving thing you can do is walk away. Not because you stopped loving them, but because you finally started loving you. I know this may not have been an easy chapter to read because it wasn't an easy truth for me to face either. Letting go of the belief that love is enough feels like letting go of a dream, especially when you're also embracing the idea that your relationship is dangerous. It can feel like a failure. It can feel like grief because it is. I just want you to remember more than anything is that walking away from something that's hurting you is not giving up. It's creating a path towards your future. It's waking up to the reality you've come so far already just by being honest with yourself. Just by even considering that love on its own isn't a good enough reason to stay. That takes guts. That takes self-respect. That takes a level of truth-telling that most people avoid their whole lives. And I'm so fucking proud of you. I know your heart is big. I know how hard you tried. I know you didn't make this decision lightly. So if you're in the middle of it, packing your bags, sitting in the silence after goodbye, or just starting to question what you've always believed, or even just remembering a memory of when you did all of that, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not crazy. You are waking up to what you've always deserved. A love that includes you, not one that costs you who you are. This is the turning point. From here, things begin to shift. The next section is about rebuilding, about learning what safety, connection, and love really feel like, starting with the way you treat you. You're not starting over with nothing. You're starting over with wisdom, courage, and a heart that's still open. That's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something entirely new. Keep going, love. You're doing it. And I'll be right here walking with you every step of the way. That concludes chapter 6, which is also the end of part 1 of the book. Part 2 leads into breaking away and reclaiming yourself. So, up until this point, I've been reading. The majority of these chapters have been about leaving a relationship. And I know that that is not everyone's place. Not everyone is in the place of leaving a relationship. However, you may have found up until this point patterns or things that you recognize that you would like to get rid of. And that is where the book is headed. These things that maybe you left a relationship like this years ago, maybe you just recognize some of those things, but creating safety within yourself, ending habits of people pleasing and self-sabotage can be done even in the most healthy relationships. So if you don't have a relationship to leave, stay tuned because the rest of the book is going to get even more targeted for you. Thank you so much for being here today and following along on this journey. And I wish you absolutely the best. And until tomorrow, love you, mean it.